World Surf League is the governing body for professional surfers and is dedicated to showcasing the world's best talent in a variety of progressive formats. It was known as the Association of Surfing Professionals from 1983 to 2014. The organization, originally founded in 1976, began with Hawaiian surfers Fred Hemmings and Randy Rarick. In 2013, the ASP was acquired by ZoSea, backed by Paul Speaker, Terry Hardy, and Dirk Ziff. At the start of the 2015 season, the ASP changed its name to the World Surf League. As of 2016, the WSL CEO is Paul Speaker, a former NFL executive who had previously produced the Quicksilver Pro New York. As of June 2016, the WSL had more than 4.6 million Facebook fans, surpassing more established sports such as the National Hockey League, the Association of Tennis Professionals, and Major League Soccer. History. In March 2015, the WSL launched a free downloadable app which garnered more than 1 million downloads in its first year. The app provides real-time updates on competitions and provides personalized alerts, letting fans know when the favorite athletes are about to hit the water. In April 2016, the World Surf League introduced WSL Pure, its philanthropic initiative dedicated to supporting ocean health through research, education and advocacy. WSL Pure has contributed an initial $1.5 million in funding that will support scientists from the Columbia University Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory, as they lead research into ocean health and ecosystems, ocean acidification, sea level rise, and the role the oceans play in climate change. Predecessors to the WSL 1964 to 1972, International Surfing Federation held the World Surfing Championships as a single event every 2 years and was open to all comers. 1973 to 1975, Smirnoff World Pro-Am Surfing Championships, occasionally referred to as the de facto professional world championship because the International Surfing Federation had been unable to establish a format of sponsorship, so no official amateur championships were held between 1973 and 1975. 1976 and 1982, International Professional Surfers was the original world governing body of professional surfing. The predecessors of the WSL relates to what organization predominantly represented individual professional surfers at the time. This is an important point because the International Surfing Federation still functions to this day as the International Surfing Association and also refers to competition winners as world champions. Creation of the ASP. Ian Cairns watched the demise of the IPS commence throughout 1982 and saw an opportunity. In January 1983, Cairns launched the ASP and lured the World Circuit organizers to the new organization, which effectively pushed aside the IPS, who were left to operate only the Hawaiian Pro events. By December 1984, the ASP had sanctioned the IPS-controlled Pipeline Masters as a specialty event available to ASP members to enter for the first time. At the start of the 2015 season, the ASP changed its name to the World Surf League. The WSL has remained the predominant surfing organization and sanctioning body for professional surfers since its formation. The WSL's first world champions were Tom Carroll and Kim Mearig in 1983. WSL membership. Membership to the WSL is only available to individuals. WSL sanctioned tours: WSL Men's Championship Tour, WSL Women's Championship Tour, WSL Men's Qualifying Series, WSL Women's Qualifying Series, WSL Men's Longboard Championships. WSL Women's Longboard Championships and WSL Junior Championships. WSL Big Wave Tour, World Surf League equals 2015. WSL World Title Race. The WSL World Title Race is used to determine the WSL Men's World Title and the WSL Women's World Title. The winner is referred to as the WSL Tour Champion. In 2015, the WSL Men's World Title is given to the surfer with the most accumulated points from the respective best 9 results from the 11 WSL World Tour events excluded. In 2015, the WSL Women's World Title is given to the surfer with the most accumulated points from the respective best 8 results from the 10 WSL Women's Championship Tour events excluded. WSL Men's Championship Tour and AMP WSL Women's Championship Tour. The WSL Men's Championship Tour is the men's elite competition consisting of the best 34 professional surfers competing in 11 events. The WSL Women's Championship Tour is the women's elite competition consisting of the best 17 professional surfers competing in 10 events. Event results are converted to points and count towards the WSL World Title Race and the ultimate prize of being called the WSL World Tour Champion. WSL Qualifying Series events. A WSL QS 10,000 event is held at premium venues with a restricted field and offers WSL QS 10,000 World Rankings points. A WSL QS 1000 QS 9000 event is a lower level of competition compared to a WSL QS 10,000 event, with their importance indicated by how many points they are assigned. More points means generally better competition and prize money. WSL World Ranking. WSL Men's Championship Tour and WSL Women's Championship Tour surfers accumulate points from each WSL Championship Tour and WSL Qualifying Series event they compete in, which count towards the WSL World Ranking. Accumulated points are valid for 12 months from the final date of the scheduled event in which they were earned. Promotion and AMP relegation. WSL World Ranking determines the promotion or relegation of surfers. 2012 Tours. The qualifiers for the 2012 ASP World Tour top 34 surfers was determined using a rotation points system. The qualifiers for the 2012 ASP Women's World Tour was determined by a surfer's rank at the conclusion of the 2011 tour. The top 10 re-qualified for 2012 and the remaining 7 places were taken from the ASP Star ranking. 2013 to 2015 tours. The qualifiers for the following year's WSL Championship Tour top 34 surfers will consist of top 22 surfers from the previous season of the WSL World Title Rankings, top 10 surfers from the previous season of the WSL World Qualifying Series Rankings, and 2 WSL wildcards. Rules. Judging in contests. Surfers will be scored on a scale of 0.1 to 10.0. These scores will be broken up into increments of 1/10. The following scale can be used to relate descriptions with the score 0 to 1.9 equals poor, 2.0 to 3.9 equals fair, 4.0 to 5.9 equals average, 6.0 to 7.9 equals good, 8.0 to 10.0 equals excellent. Judging criteria. Judges will base the previous score on how successfully surfers display these following elements in each wave: commitment and degree of difficulty, innovative and progressive maneuvers, combination of major maneuvers, variety of maneuvers, speed, power and flow, These elements may be weighted differently from day to day and event to event, depending upon the surfing conditions and the type of breaking wave at each event location. This criterion is different from in longboarding competitions. All of this is focused on creating some type consistency that can be seen throughout the many different events. The events themselves are previously declared QS 1000, QS 10,000 events. Among other things, this ranking shows what numbers of judges which are required at the event. QS 1000, QS 3000 qualifying series events are required to have a 6-judge panel with 4 judges on each heat. A QS 4000, QS 6000 qualifying series event requires 7 judges with 5 of those judges on each heat. At QS 5000, QS 10,000 qualifying series events, there are only allowed to be 3 judges from any one region. This is then limited to 2 at any World Championship events. All events also require an WSL-approved head judge who has the ability to make corrections to errors or any other events that may have affected the results. Rules. There are many rules out in the water that all revolve around the idea of right-of-way. A surfer has the right-of-way if he or she is closer to the area where the wave is breaking. This is more commonly referred to as having the inside position. If another surfer takes off in front of the surfer that has the inside position, then interference will be called, and penalties will be enacted. In most circumstances it does not matter who stood up first but who has the inside position. A surfer can also be found guilty of interference if they catch more than the maximum number of waves in a heat and that this takes away from the other competitor's ability to catch waves. A competitor is also not allowed to interfere with another competitor's paddling and maneuvering for a wave. The rules of right-of-way vary slightly with the type of break. Point breaks will always have a consistent directive what is inside, that is, the person further up the line will have right-of-way. In a single peak situation where there is both a left and a right, 2 people are able to be on the wave at the same time, provided that one goes left and one goes right and that neither crosses the path of the other to go one direction. If this does happen, then the surfer who stood up first will get the right-of-way. On a multi-peaked wave where the wave eventually comes together, both peaks can be surfed until the surfers come together. When they do, the surfer who stood up first has right-of-way, and the other must maneuver to get off the wave without interrupting the other surfer. In a one-on-one competition, priority can be declared by the head judge. Once the person with priority has paddled for a wave, priority is then turned over to the next person until the person does the same. The person with second priority can paddle for waves as long as it does not interfere with the other person, who will lose the priority only if they catch a wave. A surfer who has already taken off or obtained possession of a wave maintains this position until the end of the ride. If another surfer takes off on the inside of this surfer, then this person does not obtain priority and is considered to be snaking. If this surfer does not hurt the other surfer's ride, then both people can be scored based. If the judges determine that the snaking did interfere, then the person will be penalized. Interference penalties are called by the judges and must have a majority to be declared an actual penalty. Interference are shown as triangles on the scorecards in various different ways depending on when or where in the heat they were made. If 3 or more waves are being scored, then 1 wave will be dropped off the scorecard. If only the top 2 waves are being scored, then 50% of the second best scored wave will be taken off. If a surfer has more than 1, then 50% of the best waves score will be taken off also. The surfer who has been interfered with will be allowed an additional wave to the maximum as long as it is within the time limit. If a surfer interferes more than twice in a heat, then they must leave the competition area. WSL Championship Tour Champions, WSL Longboard Championship Tour Champions, WSL World Junior Champions. Multiple World Championships. Qualifier for list is to hold a minimum of 2 World Championship titles across the categories. Calculations include World Championship titles outside of the WSL as discussed in predecessors to the WSL section.